This is Financial Standard, the definitive source of news, thought leadership and analysis for Australian wealth management professionals. Financial Standard. Take the lead.
Hi, my name is Vinny and you're listening to the Financial Standard podcast. Today I'll be chatting with James Wrigley, one of Australia's most recognisable advisor creators, building an audience through practical educational content alongside his work as a certified financial planner. James, how are you?
Hi, Vinny. Thank you for having me along for the podcast.
Of course. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's get into it. So to start off, Australia has significant advice gap, with many people feeling either they can't afford advice or don't think it's for them. Do you think social media has the potential to narrow the gap, or is it simply introducing more voices to an already crowded space?
I think we've got to be careful about advice and social media. So, advice needs to be provided in a particular format and personal advice and so forth. But I think, the opportunity that I'm using and many others are doing as well, there's well and truly an opportunity for this kind of mass education, financial literacy. That gap is pretty large. It helps kind of educate people on what is financial advice, what do we do, how do we help people. It's a part of the gap, I think, is around people don't know what they don't know. And if through my videos or someone else's videos and content that they're putting out, it's helping to bridge that gap, some more people might seek advice. But then there's just the general education that comes with those videos for the people that maybe can't afford the full-blown financial advice.
Do you think there are misconceptions that stop people from seeking professional advice?
Oh, absolutely. There's the really common one is I don't have enough money, and that might be from someone that has lots and lots of money. It also might be from someone that doesn't have a whole lot of money. But advice isn't necessarily it's not just for rich people, however you want to describe that. Like if there's things that people are stuck on, that they can't find an answer themselves, that they're confused and they need some help and some guidance, then financial advice is there for them. It comes in many shapes and sizes and fee structures. It's just about finding the right one for the particular need that person might have.
We've seen an explosion of financial content creators over the past few years. As a licensed advisor with a large online following, where do you see the line between financial education and personal financial advice?
I guess the line from a legislation perspective is pretty clear about what you can and can't do. And ASIC's come out with some papers around, you can talk about these things, but you can't talk about these things. There's some pretty clear guidance there. So you've got to be really careful that the content that you're putting out, if you're doing it on this social media, that it isn't going into that personal advice world, and you need to have the disclaimers and all the rest of it. Like I constantly get, and I'm sure others that are doing a similar thing, I constantly get these DMs from someone that says, I'm 62-year-old female and I've got this and I've got that and I've got all the rest of it. And like in financial advice land, they've pretty much given you everything that you need to do to do a fact find and start to actually provide some formal advice. But I have to respond, and hopefully many others are doing the same thing. You have to respond back and say, I can't actually help you in the form that you're looking for via a DM on Instagram. That has to be done properly. And it's great that you're sharing all of this stuff, but please book a call and book a meeting, and we'll help you through the process properly. Some of those people say, thank you very much. I don't want to do that. Sure, that's okay. But then there's others that do follow through and do the process properly.
Well, just off the back of that, you're getting people DMing you online and, they're trying to build this trust where financial advice has traditionally been built with a face-to-face relationship. You've managed to establish this credibility through short-term videos and podcasts. How do you build trust with someone you've never met?
It is constantly showing up. Like people will want to work with you. Like there's a few things that they need to. Firstly, they need to know you exist in the first place. Mm. They need to decide that they like you, and then they need to decide that they trust you. Are kind of the three kind of key elements that I come back to. The knowing in the first place, like knowing that I exist. Instagram and TikTok do the work there for me. I just put up a video and their algorithms show it to all of these different people. But then they kind of, then they'll form an opinion of me, whether they may like me or they don't like me. Either one is perfectly fine. if someone decides that they don't like me for whatever reason, great. They're not going to reach out. They're not going to seek me for financial advice. They're not going to waste their time coming in for an hour-long initial meeting because they've decided that they don't like me. But the reverse is also true. If someone's seen all of the videos and the way that they like the way that I explain things and the way that I do whatever it is that I do, or they like the way someone else does, they'll then decide, okay, there's from all of these different people that are doing this stuff, I like the way that James explained something, and then the constantly showing up. Like I've been doing videos online for nearly 8 years, and there's people that will message me saying, "Hey James, I've been watching your videos for the last 4 years, 5 years. I think I now need some of your help." Like this isn't a short-term thing. It's not like I did a video yesterday and all of a sudden, there's all of these followers. It's been a really long time. And if you do something for that length of time, you naturally build some credibility and some trust in it, and that's where the work flows.
Well, that kind of just leads into my next question. Do people arrive at your practice already feeling like they know you? You've spoken with clients for nearly 2 decades, but you've also had thousands of interactions online. What are some of the most common questions or anxieties Australians have about money today, and have they changed over time?
I guess your first part to the question, do people arrive at the office feeling like they know you? Yes, and numerous people, more than I could count, their opening line when I have a meeting with them, whether it's in the office, they come in here, or if it's online as we're recording this podcast, many people, their opening line will be, "Hey James, I feel like I really know you, but you don't know anything about me." It's like it's this strange dynamic. I do videos about my backyard and my garden and my lawn, and the number of people that ask about that kind of stuff. And so, yes, it does build that familiarity. Absolutely. Like in the space where I work, like a lot of the work that I do is around preparing for and transitioning and managing through retirement. So by far the biggest anxiety there, and I don't think this has changed, and nor do I expect it will change anytime soon, is this fear of running out of money. Have I done enough? I think I need to keep working for so many more years. Have I got enough to live this lifestyle that I want to lead? What we actually find, and there's some kind of emails back and some forwards with a particular client that comes to mind at the moment, where early on in the interactions with them, they're talking about working for another 5 years, 6 years or something, and we've got some plans in place. But now all of a sudden, because we're working with them, they're feeling a lot more comfortable and a lot more confident that retirement plans is actually now starting to come forwards, and they've just come back from a nice overseas holiday, and now, as everyone does when they come back from a nice overseas holiday, they're like, how can that be my life and I not need to work anymore? So the anxieties are all still common. Is running out of money, share markets are scary, I can't deal with the ups and the downs, how do I manage? But then I think there's a more immediate thing right now is there's a lot of anxiety around change, tax rates and budgets and superannuation changes and these kind of things. And as you mentioned, there's thousands and thousands of interactions I would have with people across the course of the year online, and there's increasing anxiety, I think, around some of these things just in the last few months that I'm trying to help with the content that I put out online. But I'm only one voice, so hopefully others can help out too.
Amongst all these changes, creating engaging financial content while remaining compliant isn't always easy. How do you simplify complex financial concepts without oversimplifying them or crossing regulatory boundaries?
I think all of these platforms that I post videos on, they help. And what I mean by that is a lot of them, like Instagram, for example, a reel, if you want it to be shown to a lot of people, you need to keep it under 3 minutes. And so you've kind of got this hard deadline of, okay, I need to explain this thing, whatever it is that I decided that I want to explain. I need to be able to explain it in 3 minutes or less. I need to be able to explain it in a way that's going to be engaging to people. And that's where I do diagrams and use coloured pens and things, and different people have different ways of doing that. But it then also means that because the video needs to be short, it's really only one topic, like one thing that you can get across. Like sometimes I do some videos about trying to explain how superannuation works from start to finish, and that's really hard to do in under 3 minutes. So the platforms, I guess, themselves really help in that regard, in that there's this hard cutoff. I need to keep it under 3 minutes, which then means I can really only talk about one particular thing. I need to keep it pretty simple, and I need to try and make it visual, whether that's I'm outside walking around, whether I'm using coloured pencils, whether I'm using Lego blocks that I do with some of my videos to try and get those explanations across rather than me just sitting here giving a 3-minute lecture on a topic.
Do you think educational content is changing the quality of conversations you have once someone actually seeks advice? Are clients arriving more informed, or are they arriving with more misconceptions to unpack?
Without a doubt, they're arriving more informed. So most of them are arriving saying, hey, James, I already know that you can help me solve this problem because I've been watching all of these videos. So they've already decided that I'm the one that's to help them. They're not even going anywhere else. They're not interested in anyone else. They're arriving here saying, hey, James, I want your help. And where do I sign? What do I do? That comes out all the time. But then because of all of these videos that they're putting out and they've been watching for so long, they're so well educated. Like there's certain things that I'll then start to talk about, superannuation or investing or whatever, and I'll say, "Oh, I've seen your videos on that. Oh, I've seen your videos on that." Now I'm making it a little bit more relevant to them with their numbers and their situation, but the basics they've got it, and then it even makes life really easy after the fact. That if I get an email or a question come through from someone and they're saying, "Oh, hey James, how does this thing work or how does that thing work? I can't quite remember." No doubt I've got a video in one of the 1,000 videos that's on my Instagram page. I've got a video on whatever that topic was and I can send them the video. That's much more engaging for them and much easier for them to kind of understand whatever it is that we're explaining through that video rather than me trying to type out an email response to them. So it's incredibly powerful. And then so many people using my content and the content of others to just make much better financial decisions on their own without even actually engaging a financial advisor. I think the part that a lot of people miss in this is that not everyone needs or wants financial advice. They just need a bit of help and a bit of education. And through my videos and other people's videos, they can get a lot of that online.
That's really interesting. Just off that, do you think social media has changed your role as an advisor since it's had such a large positive impact?
Certainly, like for me individually, social media has well and truly brought about lots of other opportunities. Like we wouldn't be sitting here recording this podcast if it wasn't for the videos that I'm doing. So there's numerous examples of that. But in terms of my work as a financial advisor, I don't think it's changed it too much. Like probably the biggest change is just the people that we're working with or that I'm engaging with. Like, and this is because of Zoom and Teams and all the rest of it. I actually have to make a conscious effort to remember to ask someone where do they live, like because it's kind of so irrelevant in my initial engagements with them. Whether you're in Melbourne, whether you're in Sydney, whether you're in the middle of Western Australia, there's some clients that I'm working with, and so the social media has actually meant that some people in these really remote parts of Australia where there probably isn't a financial advisor for hundreds of kilometres away from wherever they are, they can actually get a bit of a sense of what people are on about and who they are and what they're talking about and start to engage with financial advisors. So I think that's probably just the biggest thing. In terms of the actual work, it's no different, but the people that we're working with, they just spread so far and wide these days. As I said, it's almost like I need to remember to ask them where they live, whereas before they were all in the suburbs of Melbourne and they all caught the train in to meet me here in the city, but life's a bit different now.
The advice profession has undergone enormous change over the past decade, from education standards to regulation and technology. Are you looking ahead? What skills do you think like the next generation of financial advisors will need beyond technical experience?
Yeah, the technicals are given, but the thing is that the technicals being replaced by AI and everything else, like ChatGPT and Claude and whatever will be able to write you some type of financial plan if you're game enough to put all of your personal information in there and press enter and ask it to do it for you. But I think the role of a financial advisor at the moment, and this may change over time, is really that bridge between, okay, there's all this information that It's all on the internet somewhere. I don't have any special information that someone else doesn't, but it's then trying to consolidate that down and make it relevant for someone's unique individual circumstances. Now, a lot of people look similar, but we're also all different, different hopes and dreams and fears and different starting positions and different end goals. And it's trying to be that middle person around. You commented before about explaining things in a particular way. There's lots of different ways to explain a particular topic, but I think our role is helping people make better informed decisions, explaining there's all this information out there, but what's the things that are relevant for you and what aren't? And what are other people that look like you? What have they done to get to where they are? That kind of talking to some of that experience as well will be incredibly valuable for financial advisors going forward.
Looking ahead, what do you hope will have changed about the way Australians access financial advice? And what role do you think digital platforms will play in making quality advice more accessible? You mentioned, now people that will be very regional, there won't be a financial advisor like anywhere close to they live. How much more accessible do you think that can be now?
Yeah, so I think and this is a world that we live in today. Financial advice is far more accessible today than it ever once was. You don't have to go into someone's office. That person doesn't have to catch the train in or drive hours to come and see you. So that access to financial advice is pretty much instant because of what's going on. But then I think continued advancements in technology makes the whole kind of back end of delivering financial advice. It's all well like the front end of financial advice in terms of interacting with clients and the education piece and having the meetings and things. That's all fairly easy, and technology's been fantastic there. The back end, and there's different businesses are doing better jobs than others in this, but I think the back end of then delivering on that financial advice, given that it has to be delivered in a particular format, the law says it has to look like this, and you have to talk about these things, and you have to have these disclosures, and you have to do whatever it is that you have to do. That back end part is still really clunky in my opinion in most businesses. The bit that I hope over the coming years is that back end becomes a whole lot better. And I suspect most financial advisors are the same. They really love the front end piece, the initial work with the client, the strategy, the explaining things, the whiteboarding, the whatever it is. They're helping them make the decisions, but then the delivering on that in the form that we need to so that it's compliant is the bit where things start to get difficult, I think, at the moment. And there's still a fair bit of work to do across the board in making that a much more enjoyable experience for the advisors, but also a much more enjoyable experience for the clients as well, that they can get the help that bit faster, a bit more relevant and a bit more timely for them when they need it.
Building a personal brand online means thousands of people know your personal life. But when you switch the camera off, what do you do outside of finance? What does a perfect weekend look out for you?
Just on the social media stuff, I'm really conscious of what I share online. So it's mostly work stuff. And then the only bits that I share outside of work are really about my garden. But my garden doesn't take up a whole lot of my work. I'm really careful not to share my kids online. My wife is not, online. And so I keep a huge part of my life really private from the very public, James Wrigley financial advisor profile that I have. So that's the first thing. But I'm married and have a couple of school-aged kids, and so I leave work and got to do the swimming lessons or the tennis lessons or there's football training on a Friday, and so there's pretty much every day of the week there's something going on with my kids outside of work, and then and that then continues on a Saturday. There's kids tennis on a Saturday morning. There's kids football AFL on a Sunday morning, and that's got a few more weeks to go. And then I try to keep pretty active as well. So most mornings of the week, probably 6 out of 7 mornings a week, I do some kind of exercise, go to the gym, go to the pool, whatever it is. But to fit all of that in, that means I got to get up pretty early. So I'm one of these kind of 5:30 type people, get up and go to the gym or go to the pool and then come home and help sort out the kids and get them off to school and then get to work and do the work day and then go home and it's dinner and dishes and school, kids' homework and the like. So life's busy, but that's no different to anyone else's life, I don't think. The bit that I've found, like in doing the social media stuff, and I used to worry in the early days of me doing the videos was about them being perfect. I had to be sitting there and the background was really nice and I had to know exactly what I'm talking about. But the way these Instagram and all the rest of them work nowadays, it's far more like in the moment, spur of the moment. It doesn't have to be polished. My ums and ahs, and if I repeat myself or I'm drawing something with some texters and I make a spelling mistake and I cross it out and I write it again, like that's just real life. That's how we all live. And that type of content works a whole lot better from an engagement perspective, but it's also a whole lot easier and faster to turn around. And so it's really, I record a 3-minute video, I might spend 1.5 minutes editing it and I post it. Like one video might take me 5 minutes to do it and it's done and move on with the rest of my day.
It does seem like people really resonate with something that's genuine and, that connection is there. If you could sit down with your younger self, what financial lessons would you want them to understand, or do you think there's the same lessons that most Australians need today?
For my younger self, if I could go back in time, I would tell my younger self, don't buy that apartment, rent that apartment. That's the biggest kind of, you don't want to kind of look back and dwell on things, but that's the biggest kind of financial mistake, I guess, is maybe the description that I would put on it. But then I'd also go back and I encourage, like a lot of the advisors that I work with, I work in a pretty big business. We've got a lot of people coming through professional year, coming out the other side. The big thing that I always kind of talk to them about is you've got so much time ahead of you. Like I've been doing this for nearly 20 years now, and I feel like I'm just getting started. And these kids, the 20-something-year-olds that are coming through during their professional year, they'll be looking at me as one of the old guys, I'm sure. I don't feel like one of the old guys, and I still feel like there's so much more ahead of me. And it's just amazing what can happen if you kind of take the pressure off. I need to be here by then. People will come to you with different opportunities along the line. Just keep saying yes to different things. Do you want to do this podcast? Do you want to go here? Do you want to go to this event? Just keep saying yes, 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 yes. Just say yes to everything. And then before you know it, you've been working in financial advice for 20 years and it's like, well, look at all of these things that are going on. Isn't life amazing? But as I said, I feel like I'm just getting started. I'm like, well, if this is what's happened in the last 20 years, what happens in the next 20 years? Like, that's just amazing. And I constantly wonder where I'll be in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. Who knows? Maybe I'm sitting on a beach and I'm retired, or maybe there's other things going on. Who knows? It's there's a lot of time ahead of you, I guess, is the big message there.
That's great. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today, James. I just want to thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Vinny. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this Financial Standard podcast. For more information, visit financialstandard.com.au. Please keep in mind that the information discussed in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider personal circumstances. Reliance should not be placed on any content without further independent financial research and advice.